Breaking news. FUD Nation. Ethereum's co-founder and Canadian malnourished Satoshi Nakamoto, Vitalik Buterin, has said that 1000x gains in the crypto market are no longer achievable. The days of 1000x are behind us. This is a crushing report, a damning report, leaving us all in the cryptocurrency community wondering why? How is it possible? I began this journey into cryptocurrency with just 17 cents in my pocket, and I built a fortune in just 1 month. And now he's saying that it's over. I should just pack up my things and become a normal person. Well, Vitalik, we will stand up, we will fight, and we will regain the days of 1000x. But to understand more about why he said this, let's take a look at his full statements. Vitalik says the blockchain space is getting to the point where there's a ceiling in sight. If you talk to the average educated person at this point, they probably have heard of blockchain at least once. There isn't an opportunity for yet another 1000x growth in anything in this space anymore. Buterin explains that instead where we need to look to improve are consumer-facing products, dApps. Well, I might agree with him there. But let's first investigate the statement that the crypto space can no longer endure 1000x growth. Now, right now, the cryptocurrency markets are sitting at about $200 billion in total market capitalization. The total demand for currency globally is estimated at about 85 trillion. That means that currently our market could expand well over 100 times to very close to 1,000 times before it even approximated the value of the demand for currency globally today. And this isn't factoring where it might be in 5, 10, 15 years when this actually fully happens. Beyond that, there are demand for blockchain-based assets, such as security tokens. Now, if you don't know what security tokens are, they function much in the same way as cryptocurrency, though they don't represent currency. They represent ownership or equity in certain traditional assets. Security tokens can be used to constitute ownership in such things as real estate. The real estate market globally is in excess of $220 trillion. If blockchain assets come to replace traditional ownership vehicles for equities in securities, in the stock market, in currency itself, there's way more than 1000x growth room within the current market as it stands today. So I'd say just on basic numbers, that's absolutely incorrect. And to say that just because your average person has heard of blockchain or cryptocurrency, that there's not the same room for dynamic growth, well, the numbers actually disagree with that. While I understand that Vitalik is extremely upset and frustrated right now, especially as it pertains to price talks, given that Ethereum has been taking an absolute pummeling in the markets and shows no signs of really letting up and regaining its price traction, I also disagree fundamentally with his assessment that there's not room for 1000x growth. To believe that there's not room for the entire market to expand by 1,000 times its current size is actually not correct. By my math, and I'm sure there's a lot of strong believers in blockchain assets that would agree with me, especially if you take into account the security tokens aspect of blockchain assets and go beyond cryptocurrencies itself. Just to hammer this point home, let's check out some other interesting news that really reflects the tremendous growth of the market even in this bearish period. While price has been correcting, we all know that the infrastructure around the cryptocurrency space has only been growing. We just got word that Coinbase has doubled its total staff throughout the entirety of 2018, meaning since the market really took a tremendous we know that Coinbase has been able to dramatically double its expenses, its overhead, the amount of human capital that it has. This is a pretty amazing feat and really reflects the infrastructure growing within this market while the price is still stagnating and dropping. We know that price is an interesting indicator, not really the best indicator of the utility and the value of cryptocurrency. While in the end something is worth what you pay for it, we know that the value of cryptocurrency keeps growing. This market is truly getting ready to have another era of blossoming. Again, we're not exactly sure when the bull run will start, but we know that when it starts, the next bull run will blossom to a tremendous size. That's made possible by lower fees on the Bitcoin network, by more coins and more advancements within the blockchain ecosystem, by more consumer-facing products and dApps and services that actually bring usage and utility to the assets in your wallet. These are all things that are going to make it possible for the next cryptocurrency bull run to be exponentially larger than the last one, as it has been each and every time this cycle of boom and bust has occurred. Furthermore, seeing the potential in countries such as Venezuela and the emerging market, where Bitcoin has truly come to be a hedge against fiat vulnerabilities and fiat volatilities, namely hyperinflation.
So I'm calling from Caracas, Venezuela, the graveyard of the fiat currency system. We are in the spiral of death, the hyperinflation spiral of death. We are at the point that, the banknotes, the bills are worthless. People just use them for, to build tours, to make some art, craft, and they're going to get paid for their art, but the banknotes are just worthless. And that's part of the point. The government have kicked down the cans on the road so far that they don't have any money left. They don't have any credibility left. So people realize that they have to spend the money as soon as possible. And that's something that I was, trying to portray in the future with other type of currencies. And it's the same. That's the nature of inflation, It's just that in the U.S. or Europe, it happens in a slow motion video. But here in Venezuela, it's on a pretty accelerated path. But it's the same, if you have 2% inflation rate a year, it's just the same story. You know that as soon as you receive your paycheck, you gotta spend it. Otherwise, in a year, it's gonna be 2% at least. It's gonna worth less. So that's what's happening here. People receive their paycheck and they rather have, a can of tuna or a bag of flour, because they know that that's going to hold their value way much better than the local currency. And of course, Bitcoin is being the most used crypto. As we can see on the local Bitcoins usage, every single week we break some all-time highs. So yeah, definitely Bitcoin is a better store of value, and I think it's the most strong store of value that we have seen in history.
We can see that slowly but surely, cryptocurrency is coming to solve the biggest problem that it came to solve in the first place, which is centralized control over money. We know that this is a process that takes years. It's not something that happens immediately. So seeing the signs of cryptocurrency continuing to grow into the public conscience and serving its initial purpose, even when the price is stagnating and going down, shows that the growth within our communities, within our societies, just because people have heard about this, is still very much so untapped. We showed the graph just yesterday of how less than 10% of Americans even own cryptocurrency. And I'm sure that most that do own just a very small amount. It's not really representative of the total amount of currency that it occupies, but more the total amount of people that are aware of it. If you take the analogy of the internet, back in 1994, I'm sure almost everyone had heard of the internet, but how many people actually owned it? How many people actually used it? And more importantly, how many people actually relied on it in the way that people rely on it now? It took until the iPhone and mobile web for people to really invest in the internet and start to really need it all the time. Mobile web and the iPhone didn't become popularized until late in the aughts. So from 94 to 2008, of course, everyone knew of internet, but it was still growing exponentially throughout those times. And you could argue that from the time the iPhone was put out, people started relying on it exponentially more throughout the day. How many people can go even a few minutes or a few hours these days without checking their phone, checking their messages? Almost all of which is run through internet services. Obviously, while people might be aware of cryptocurrency, while they might be aware of blockchain assets, the idea that this awareness somehow constitutes a ceiling or a saturation of the market, especially in numerical terms, to me is utterly asinine. I love Vitalik, I love his contributions to the space, but I think on this one, he's dead wrong. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification, and that way you'll be made aware whenever we put out new content. I'm Elio Trades, you're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.